Hello, welcome to Ask Aiken Dalbo, Season 1, Episode 1, Pilot Episode. Hello, welcome to Ask Aiken Dalbo. This is our attempt to be able to communicate with you, the parents, and also the kids if they want to watch this, how to do specific topics. And it's called Ask Aiken Dalbo because we are, very busy, but we do take requests. So if you want to learn how to read aloud with your child, or if you're confused about what place value means, please let us know. And if I have time, I will make a video. So today we are going to go over something that is a little scary, subtraction with regrouping. And a lot of parents, after seeing some of the explanations with how we do subtraction with regrouping, are confused because it doesn't feel the same way. It actually is really similar. It's just we want to help the thinking in the background. So I wrote up a problem, 432, you can see that, minus 178. So I'm going to show you how we would solve this and what we expect the kids to be thinking. So 432 minus 178. So what we do in class is what we learned in school was we memorized the standard algorithm, which is what it's called, and we could whip that out quickly, and it was easy, and we were done. The problem with that is we found out that a lot of kids just memorize how to do this, and they don't know why they're doing anything. Because really, what we do, the standard algorithm, is just a series of symbols to show thinking that we've always assumed is going on, but we just want to make sure it's actually going on and it's actually being digested properly. So I'm using this app called Number Pieces. It's really good for showing the process of regrouping. So we start out with our number, 432. I will say that nowadays, most of these problems would be presented in word problem format. So I'm going to leave this as it is because I want to show you how to do it. But if you really want to challenge your child, give them word problems. And give them word problems that are interesting. Put their name in it. My dad used to put Pokemon cards. And I would do problems about Pokemon cards, and it seemed like it was fun, and it was about me, and it had to do with real life. So if you want to challenge your child, word problems. So we use number pieces. And in the US, we use a base 10 system. This is 432. So this is when I say 432, in their little heads, I would hope that they're understanding that 432 is 4 hundreds, 3 tens, and 2 ones. I'll let you in on a secret. A lot of times they don't. A lot of times there's a lot of misunderstanding. If you say 432 and you ask, how many hundreds are there? They could very well say 400, which is more the hundreds than I could even fit on this board. That's a common misconception. We really want our kids to understand place value. So 432. We always start with the ones. I say because the ones are the babies, and you got to take care of the babies first. So 2 take away 8. You can't do that. That's impossible. If they're not understanding that, well, it's not impossible. It doesn't make a friendly number. If they're not understanding that, I would say, Peggy, you have 2 jelly beans, and I tell you, give me 8. And then I'm like, there's going to be a problem because she can't. It'll make a negative number. And if your child's ready, you can tell them a little bit about negative numbers. We don't want them to think it's impossible because it is possible. It's just not what we want to do, and it would take up a lot of time. So that's when we are going to regroup. I'll regroup first. I'm going to do this first. Dun, da, da, da. So what I explain to the kids is I say, hey, so we could actually show 432 a different way. So I want to take away from the ones. So I'm going to take the tens. I'm going to take one of the tens, break it apart. Did it break? Break it apart. And then I'm going to move it, and I can take it apart, actually, showing them the process of taking it. It's kind of finicky. So I usually spread them all out so they can see that that 10 just became part of the ones. Still the same number. Make sure your child understands that this is not a different number. It's just a different way of showing 432. So they might need to actually count it up to see, oh wow, I didn't add anything or take anything away. So then that's when I say, so in math, we would show that process by, I say, how many 10s do we have on our sheet now? And they say 2. Okay. So that's when we cross out the 3 and we write the 2 above the 3. And then I say, oh, well, how many 1s do we have now? And that's when they think, 10 plus 2 is... Oh, my computer turned off. It went into hibernate. Sorry. So that's when they say 10 plus 2. What's 10 plus 2? It's 12. Hopefully they'll eventually be able to realize the pattern of you can just really add a 1. But we cross out the 2 and we write 12. So now we can take care of those ones. So 12 minus 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 4. All right, now we're going to play with the 10s. Uh-oh. 2 take away 7 is not going to work. Make sure they understand that. They will. My friend Peggy, she will try to do 7 minus 2. Every time. And that's one thing we want to stop. So we go back to this, and I say, well, we could take one of the hundreds and break it up and give those 10s away. We give them to the 10s. And I usually show the process of physically splitting up the 10s. And then I'm going to say, but we don't have to do that every time in math. To show that, we would just say, okay, how many hundreds are there now? All right, we know there are 3 hundreds. We know that there's only 2 10s left. And we know if we took away 100 and split it up into 10s, that would be 10 10s. So 10 plus 2 is 12. So then we can go further. So 7 minus 12 is 5. And then 3 take away 1 is 2. And there's your answer. So this is exactly the way you and I were taught in school. My computer keeps turning off. This is exactly the way you and I were taught in school to do this. The only difference is that for a little while, we're using these to describe why we're doing what all these marks mean. Eventually, by the end of this unit, the student will be expected to be able to do this without those blocks, which are called manipulatives in math language. So we're using them, but they're just to make the transition to subtraction with regrouping, which is a really hard concept, more accessible. So when you see that, nothing's changed. We still do it the same way. We're just explaining to them a little more explicitly what's happening. So that is subtraction or takeaway. A good way to practice is giving word problems, and also another good way to practice is do the problem incorrectly and have them correct you. So that is the end of the first Ask Aiken Dalbo. I apologize for technical difficulties. This was the pilot episode. If you need more help, we are just a text away, and we love hearing from you. So don't be afraid to say, hey, I totally didn't understand what you were saying in the video. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.